welcome back to the podcast. I know November we were doing a men's series and it's been such an enlightening season, to be honest. It's been very refreshing to have a fresh perspective on the podcast. I've had 3 male guests so far come on, and this is my last interview for this particular segment that we were doing in November for the men's series, to be able to have conversations but also get some insights from a male perspective. And so I'm very excited to be able to have our 4th male guest on the podcast. Welcome, David. Karibu.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Karibu. Thank you so much for making the time. I know life is busy, and so I normally don't take it for granted when someone just takes a pause and decides to come onto the podcast and have a walk with me.
This adulting thing was not advertised properly.
It was not. It was a scam.
It was a scam from the beginning. How we were little and we were looking at all these adults living their lives, being free, and then finally we became adults and we were like, what happened to us being children?
I know. Is this like Shukisha? Shukisha, this is not it.
Our biggest stress was if we have finished homework. Can you imagine that?
I know. And not being beaten.
I wish we could go back.
Adulting is trying us best. But, however, I'll tell you this though. I know I say adulting is ghetto, but anything for the freedom I have now. Like, if that's the price I have to pay for the freedom I'm experiencing now, it's okay. It's okay. Tapambana too.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you feel as if, why is it that the kids currently, the kids are so comfortable being at home, they don't look at getting out of the house and living on their own as freedom anymore? I
think they're getting the privileges that us guys felt like we couldn't get. You know, us it was, what is it? I think there's a certain kind of freedom that they're experiencing that us we didn't. That doesn't require them to leave home. But for us, there's a certain kind of freedom we were chasing that we weren't getting, that we felt like if I want to experience this, then I need to leave home. Or I need to hurry up and start adulting.
Which is true, because some of the things that they enjoy now, we didn't. Like, some of them don't have curfews. You're in university, post-university, and you don't have a curfew of lazima ukwe hapa before 11.
Exactly. Sisi kwanza ulikuwa when the sun sets, my friend, lala kwenye uko.
As in, when the sun goes to bed, you should be in bed also.
Thank you. That's my mom. And it's funny to see that now I'm 30 and the same principle remains. As long as it's haruf, utakuja before sunset.
And that is the thing. Because I know people, young people who are currently don't look at, they cannot even perceive the notion of living home. How do I leave my mother's house? The comfort, the what? Now, Lisa, you don't want some of these freedoms? Freedoms like what? Like coming in when you want? My mom doesn't care. As long as I tell her, Nakuja, I want to be coming in today, she's okay with that.
Yeah.
I asked, what about maybe extracurricular activities like going drinking and things like that? My mom accommodates it. I can drink at home. There's no hindrance. So I guess that's the reason why they have no problem staying at home.
I think so too. These people, they're living la vida broca. Wanaendelea vizuri.
Hiyo maisha, sidhani our parents would ever allow.
Neither do I. And you know, to some extent, I'm not mad. I'm not that mad that I got to experience that. I think it gave me some kind of discipline. There's something to be said about having everything at your disposal. It gives you a certain level of entitlement and also just makes you feel like you don't have to struggle for anything. But I can just get it.
Which is true. And now, who do you blame? Because some of these young ones, I'm talking about kids that were born in 2000, 2001. Do you know somebody in 2000 that was born in 2003? Well, actually, somebody who was born in 2005 is 18 right now.
Yeah. Yes.
As in, somebody who was born in 2000 right now will tell you, me, I don't want to leave home. And I blame our generation. Our generation, I blame anybody who is 36 and above. Because those are the ones who have kids who are in... Now they're 18. Now they're 16.
Yes.
And when we brought them up to the ideology of you can have everything you want.
we were kind of trying to undo the things that we felt we didn't really like during our upbringing, alafu in the process to end up go overdo.
Now imagine the generation that is coming trying
I fear for them. Let me tell
because
you,
they are trying to undo what we did,
and we really like they've really gone way off. Hata hawaoni barabara. Unajua mtu anaambiwa umepotea njia kidogo, hawa wameenda, they are gone.
Hawa waliingia 4-wheel wakaenda tu wakaenda now they're in the middle of the forest.
In the bundus. I know. Yeah, something needs to be done though. Something needs to be done. I think there needs to be a balance because and I feel for millennials, I won't lie, because I feel like our parents, their ability pia kuvumilia kufinyiliwa was a bit on the extreme. And then there was us who were trying to come out of that mindset of, I mean, unanifinyilia, but I really want to be my own person. And then now with the people who now you're saying have their children who are 18 now, as a result of that, trying to give their children that balance, waka overdo. So now our watoto wamepotoka kabisa. It's like they're over-expressing, over-entitled, now like, tume overdo. But now millennials are stuck feeling like, where do we stand? I don't know how we'll reel it back.
I realized something long ago.
Yeah.
Every generation will always try to fight the previous generation. Our fathers used to fight our grandfathers' generation because our great grandfathers' generation was zileza, we have to arrange your marriage. And this was a generation who was saying, no, we are going to marry for love. We are not going to marry out of responsibility. Then came our generation, which, sasa with them, yes, they're going to marry for love, but they're going to be specific on the tribe. They will never get at somebody outside their tribe. Then sisi tukasema, no, we're going to one up you. We are saying we can actually marry for love and outside our tribes, outside our
we can go way off. Yes.
Now the current generation is fighting bado our generation and saying above just marrying for love and marrying outside our tribe, we are going to marry outside our gender.
Yeah, I'm going to need my own sexual orientation and flow with it.
Sexual orientation. Let's be honest. I have my own ideology on this.
Yes.
And my ideology on this is that we feel as if modernization is copying the Western culture. And the Western are bored. They have no culture. So anytime we copy them, we are copying something that does not necessarily, it's not necessarily the good part of all that discovering. So we are like, now we're binary, we have several sexual, people identify as, even objects at this point.
Anything. You can't even keep up. Some people are even identifying as like with a disability. Like I identify as visually impaired. But you can see, Georgina, you can see. What do you mean?
Now you know what? At this point, I identify as a billionaire.
Even me. My pocket is saying otherwise, but me, I identify as what I identify as. And people will just have to keep up.
Now, this generation of binary and gender and stuff, can you imagine the war they're going to be fighting with their kids?
Hey, because their kids are going to take it to the next level. Our kids, the Lulu Pro Max. The Lulu Pro Max. We might get to a point we need to actually just go back to the Stone Ages and redo this. We need to reboot. We need to because
it's crazy. It's crazy out here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at us. It's just the intro and we've already gone into it.
Leave alone that I've not even introduced. You have not introduced yourself. You've not introduced me, and we're here now.
It's been 10 minutes. We're talking about how. Anyway, that conversation, let me tell you, I think it's an unending one. Me, I just said, I know what my values are. I know how far I can try to accommodate certain beliefs. But there's a place mimi sitapita. I think as a believer, I believe that God doesn't make mistakes. And there's a certain reason why certain things are made in a certain way. Na tulizipata hivyo. Now that's how they kind of work. That's like kind of the default. And so any other knowledge that's added on top of that, sometimes can be problematic. Also, just the need for people to feel like we need to accommodate everything. I was saying there's also trying to be accommodating of what other people's beliefs are. But I feel like in that process of being accommodating, sometimes we can really go way off. So me, I know what my values are. I stick to them. If I have a child, that person is under me. I am responsible for them. I will teach them my values. If they want to veer off and go do their own thing, by the time you're leaving my doorstep, I have told you what is wrong and right according to me and what my values are. Sasa. But this idea we are pushing of being accommodating is it's taking things way off. Me, that's just how I see it. That's just how I see it.
Now, here's the thing. I would actually say, I think we need to document some of these values and I don't want to use the word doctrine because I don't believe in following doctrine, but I believe that some of the values we have currently, some of the beliefs and some of the things we follow up with, we need to document for the generations to come. Because I was talking to one of my uncles, one of the elders of our family, and I realized some of these old traditional doctrine, the things that they used to follow in their tradition, in our I'm a Kikuyu, so our Kikuyu tradition.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually based on logical things, but the fact that we look at them as we are doing this just because it was there before us. That way we are losing a lot of people, including people in our generations who want you to explain why. Yes, you say you're doing this and this and this, but why?
Why?
So, because I looked at it, we were talking about some of the traditions in Kikuyu where it comes to Rorashio, and we are like, why was it important for a suitor to come to the lady's home with goats and cattle and sacrifice them and all these things? And my uncle was able to actually expound on that and tell me, in real sense, a man would go, it's actually out of respect. A man would go with livestock because that was their mode of trade. I give you livestock, you give me food and things like that. So when somebody would go with goats and then they change a goat as a way of appeasing the elders, it wasn't just because they were killing a goat. It was a ritual. It was just a process of letting this man know, by the way, you have started this, you have cleansed it's just a physical manifestation of, I have cleansed my house of all problems, and I have come with authentic reasons to take your daughter. And that kind of respect to the father, going through that process of showing, thank you for raising this girl to this point. I would love to, and I want to show you the responsibility that I will be taking is taking care of the rest of her life.
Yes.
So I feel as if,
I hear you.
Yeah, I feel as if some of the values we have now, we need to document them and give, the background, the reasons why we do them. Because most times it's not ati tumeamka tu and decided we're going to do these things. There's a reason behind all these things.
There's a reason behind it. Yes. Yeah. I agree. 100%. That's true. I hope, because of course, now in this season, we are chasing the bag. It's like you're out of your 9 to 5 and you're into another thing. And sometimes without realizing it, especially if you're a parent, you can be doing a lot of lazy parenting and you're just going through the motions. And before you know it, your children are just, they're getting older and older, have no sense of what is it called? They have no sense of belonging, no sense of authenticity. Hawana grounding,
Exactly.
So I think that's some of the things that as modern parents now we should try and take a bit more seriously, because family values it's important. It's important, to be honest. You don't see it, but when you get older, some of the things that even you do, that you follow, even subconsciously, are as a result of your upbringing and the kind of values that you were raised around. So I think it's very important. That's true. 100%. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump right into it. Today I wanted us to talk about transitions and changes. But before we even get into that, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm David Mwangi. I identify as a creative.
Yes.
So basically, I used to do mostly videography, photography. but currently I'm more focused on video editing, photo editing, graphics, and animations. That's why I call myself a creative. I cannot limit myself in a box that I'm a video editor, I'm an audio editor, I am a jack of all trades. I touch on every part of the creative process. So yes, I'm a creative. I am a husband. I am a father. I am going to be 40 next year. That is a big thing for me. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah,
I know. Yes. So yes, I'm looking at my next transition. I always believe that you never leave yourself comfortable in one stage of your life. You have to
that's true.
Look at the next stage and figure out how you're going to maneuver it.
Yeah, 100%. And I always say this, and it's something that I came to terms with very later on in my life, that I noticed the only constant thing in life is change.
Yeah.
Things stay changing. And so the only thing you have control over is how you adapt and how your attitude looks like. That's the only thing you can control. Everything else in life, you just roll with the punches. Some changes usually happen as a result of our own decisions, but some are inevitable. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it's flowing.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the intro. Thank you for telling us about yourself. Maybe I will tell the people who are listening how we met. So I actually met David when I was starting one of my major life transitions, when I got into my very first job, my very first serious job. I was a very young girl, very shy. So we were working in different departments. So it took a while for us to be able to just interact. But of course, the pleasantries for good morning, good evening, good afternoon, we always used to do that. And so there are a number of activities that I started getting into that made us start to interact.
Please let your audience know that it was my initiative that actually got us to talk. Just letting everybody know that.
Yes, I think but at this point, a huge part of my audience know that I'm very socially awkward. So sometimes I can be seeing someone and I feel like, I feel like I can vibe with this person, we can talk. But suddenly I can't make my move until they take that initiative, and that's a happened when I kuimba kama ndege. Now I can happily take it from there. I think one of the things that I also really that made me pursue our interaction further was you kind of spotted that I was trying to find my footing in terms of just being a creative, but also being very passionate about wellness and just having conversations that people would deem awkward or unnecessary. And when you saw me making small strides to kind of just find my own way and start my own platform, you were very encouraging, also very helpful, and I really appreciated that. Especially since I was at a point where I was transitioning, because I went through a number of life changes all at once. I got my very first job, kimbelembele ikanipeleka huko, nikaingia motherhood, and then I was also, now the job was also as a result of I need to make ends meet, but do I want to be here? And then I also hadn't started college. Man, I was really transitioning. I was morphing, in all shapes and sizes. And so just having an interaction with you, just being able to just look at the work that you were putting out there, as a videographer and everything else that you were doing. I thought you were doing good things. You were doing dope things. I was looking at your content and said, where God when? So that's how
that me interacting with you actually came about because of your passion for health and all that. And I could see you trying to curate content around health and around that environment. And it actually challenged me to help you, because helping you was you want to try this. Okay, give me a minute, let me research on it. And it also helped me, gain more knowledge as I was helping you.
But
that job environment really taught us patience. You needed patience, you needed grace, you needed if it wasn't for God, I don't think you'd have lasted those many years.
It's true. If it was, let me tell you, at some point, it was literally God carrying me through. Like he just came. He said, my child, you just hop on. Let's continue.
No. God was like, you know what? Just marinate here for a while. I have the next step set.
Yes, 100%. And now, sometimes when And I remember having a conversation with you. I'll never forget. This was a time when I was doing that initiative for donating the sanitary towels.
Yeah.
And I had just come in early before shift, and we were just having like a short conversation before we leave, because you were handling, just taking the photos and all of that. And I was in a season where I was really complaining. And I remember telling you, I want to do something with my passion. I want to be paid for my passion. And I remember you bringing in a very fresh perspective and being like, no, but you're here now. Like what it's what are you getting here now?
That is helping
and what
you
can
in
you
your,
how can you amplify it?
Yes, because
Yes,
it was
in your nini.
I always tell people, what are you doing now to facilitate your passion for the future? Because Sawa, you are you're at an 8 to 5, you're doing blah 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 blah, but there must be a step you're making. You see, like just the outreach we went to for the sanitary pads, it was a step, but it was, what are you doing about that situation? Yes, you're at a company that has facilitated you doing this outreach. But what are you doing with that opportunity to develop that passion, that skill? That's why I insisted that you have to speak in front of the ladies that were there, speak in front of the kids and talk to them, because that is actually the next step.
Yeah, kabisa. And that really changed my perspective, because there's something to be said about feeling frustrated when you're in a certain situation, and you could easily just turn into a Debbie Downer, and now you're complaining. But what are you doing though? I mean, what's the good thing that you can get out of this? So I got out of that conversation, I got, okay, I'm here now, but also look at it as a means to an end. Look at it and look at the opportunities that you can siphon out of it. But generally, the aim is just to build on it. And then if the bigger opportunities and the better opportunities come, then now you kind of transition into that. And that was very eye-opening for me. I've never forgotten that. I can't even remember the particular scenario. I remember it was in the morning, how the sun was hitting the office. I remember everything. I remember everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing about me, I remember, because there's a saying that Maya Angelou normally says, people might forget a lot of things, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And so me, I never forget certain encounters. There are things that will come that will be fleeting, but when someone tells me something or does something that makes me feel some type of way, whether good or bad, those are things that I never forget. And so those are one of the conversations that we had that I never forgot.
I appreciate
forgot, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to talk about transitions, yes.
So transition, that is a very broad topic, but that is one of the things, actually, that transition and change, those are interlocked.
Transition and changes, yes.
Because every change needs that transition period. And that transition period determines how you will take the new change.
Kabisa.
When we were talking about this topic, one of the things that came to mind was, I have seen the transition of technology.
Yes.
I've seen the transformation and transition of social interactions. I have seen the change and transition of, let me say, even presidents that have impacted our lives.
Yes.
As in,
as we were born during Moi era.
Most of your audience might not be at the age I'm at, and might not understand that I minili kunywa maziwa ya Nyayo. I used to run for the football. It used to be the Triangle Park, and it used to have different spots on them. I used to pray and run to get the football icon one, the one that had football on it. There was volleyball, there was hockey, there was all these other sports, but I used to run for the football one. I don't know if it was the mindset of football equals to being a man. If you get the volleyball one, you're not. Hey, I think it's that ideology growing up as a kid in primary school, getting that maziwa, and I'm like, no, I'm a boy. I have to get the boy one.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I was there during Moi's era. Through all that, I was there during the transition to Kibaki's era. I was there even, as in, all through all this, I have seen all these presidents chapa their full 10 years.
Because Moi chapped is 24 years.
There's somebody who has only known Uhuru as their president.
Imagine. That's so true.
As in,
Yeah.
Hata most probably haezi kumbuka Kibaki simply because Kibaki came in the first 5 years of their lives. But the president they know is Uhuru.
Yeah. Because Kibaki's reign was short and sweet.
Plus, I'm talking about somebody who is even 20 years old right now. That means he was born in the year 2000. That means he only had a couple of years of Kibaki's rule when he was too young to realize it. But the conscious president anajua ni Uhuru.
Yeah. Amejua hata alikuwa old enough to identify. Yeah.
Exactly. The other transitions that I've witnessed, technology, smartphones. Do you know when I was young, my father had one of those first Motorola's that had a aerial on it.
No, really?
I'm telling you, my first phone, I was going to say smartphone.
Yeah.
There were no smartphones at that time.
No, there were no.
My first phone was a Sagem. It used to be grey.
Oh, I remember
ka figure
those
8
ones.
na ka aerial.
Yes, I remember those ones. Kwanza venye zilianza kutoka zile zenye ni ndogo kidogo at least.
You know?
Sana. It wasn't giving walkie-talkie. Yes.
That. As in when I knew I had flickered was when I got a Nokia 3310. And I could pimp it the way I want. Polyphonic.
Yes.
People will not understand. Only
ones.
older people will understand this. Polyphonic meant that I can code my own ringtone on my car 3310 to ring a certain popular song. But ilikuwa tu ti 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 ti, as in that's all you could program.
Oh yes. Oh my god. Aki, you're taking me way back. But sasa unajua maybe that's the era when I was now coming into kidogo. Because I remember when I was at OE is when we had started phasing out the phone booths. And now when the landlines were more popular, and then shortly after now we started transitioning into now the cell phones now.
People will never understand the phone booth. Me, I remember we used to have a hack. You put the
reverse calls.
Leave alone the reverse call. There's a way we used to punch in numbers kwa your booth, gonga it somewhere, and you get free calls. As in you can call your parents. Okay, you never called your parents. You used to call your girlfriend. You call.
Of course not. Yeah.
Right now, there are kids who will not know how that ka phone with the dial tone that was round. Ile una called what?
Ile kuzungusha ile. I remember it. I don't even know what it's called. It's the landline, but the one with the yuzungusha to zero.
That was it.
It goes back and then you nini again. Oh yes. And then with the nini, even the handpiece looked like headphones. You know how it was slim apo hivyo, and then there was a part for the ear and the part for the mouthpiece.
That was actually how you used to nini. And our parents, to make sure that the phone bill is not too high, used to put a padlock on that phone to make sure that you do not call. Mara you're calling sijui somebody in the States. Anaangalia bila na shindo what is going on. You're calling your girlfriend for 3 hours. Sijui what you are talking about.
No, you hang up.
Yeah, no.
Let's
Nobody's hanging up. We're using parents' phones, so we don't care. Moving on from there, we went to Sasa. Now, the first colored phone was actually Siemens or Samsung. Basically, by colored, it meant you could program it to change. The display was also monotone, but you can change it to blue, red, yellow. That was colored phone. The first colored phone was that.
Where? I'm just visualizing as we go. It's a whole history lesson. Let me tell you, the Gen Zs are going to benefit from this episode. This one. What?
As in, you have to, because the transition from that, since we are still in technology, the first thing I had was a Walkman. It was yellow. I'll never forget it. It used to be yellow. It was a Walkman that only takes tapes.
Was it the big one where you open and you put the CD? Was it the one that you open and then you put the CD?
Yes, you open kabisa, you put not CD. That I'll go to that. The first one was a Walkman. Walkman needed a tape.
Oh.
It used a tape. and you still had to rewind if you wanted, it had side A and side B. So you finish playing side A, you turn, play side B,
you move, you turn, you place.
That is the Walkman. Next was the Discman. That's what you're talking about, Discman.
Oh,
that was the CD one.
Uh-huh.
And that was the new technology is a Discman. You can put a CD into that and play all your songs. Apo sasa, we have come from playing 6 to 7, let's say 8 songs on a tape.
Yeah.
To now you have like 30 songs on a tape, and you're like, oh my God, on a CD, and you're like, oh my God, I have a CD that can play songs. Kidogo,
back to back.
Apple came back and told you, you know what? Here's an iPod.
I remember those ones. I had one.
The size of almost a smartphone. As in that thing used to be heavy.
Yes, and that one you could fit into your pocket and then you...
But for the first time, you have 500 songs in one place. And you could shuffle around. You don't have to play the same. As in, you don't have to wait for it to follow.
In the sequence. Yes, you can go to song number 3.
Yes, you can even arrange a playlist. The first time I saw a playlist was on an iPod, where now you can I don't want this song, I want this to flow like this, and this is my playlist. That was the first time the playlist I had a playlist. Please note, let me take you back kidogo, still kwa part ya tapes. That's how when we were young we used to record mixtapes. We do a mixtape on one tape. So we record radio to tape, to an empty tape.
That I think we also did that kidogo.
At that time is when I'm about to reveal part of my past. I used to be a DJ back in the day. So
guys, I also just found out.
So as a DJ, what we used to do was you have that player that has 2 decks.
Yes.
So you're playing one song on this side. To scratch, you play you press down play and forward. Then you're going to play this other side.
That was the scratching.
That's how
you guys used to scratch back in the day. Yeah.
So that was scratching back in the day. You press play and rewind and forward on one side, or rewind. You skip and then you play on this other side the music you want to play, and then stop on this other side.
Yeah.
That's how we used to DJ, as in those gigs ni marafiki wako tu.
Of course. It's the people around you first.
Yes. And back then, Bado, we used to write our lyrics on books.
I remember. Because before Sunday Nation started putting for us lyrics.
I'm telling you. So the Sunday paper, Nation. I remember it was Nation.
Yes.
Sunday
Nation.
Used to have that but before that, we used to have to you record the song you want from radio. So now it's on tape.
Yes.
When it's on tape, now you rewind and play so that you can listen to what they're saying and write them down.
Yeah, and I remember the play button also had a pause button.
Yes. So now you play, pause, you play, listen to the word, pause, rewind, play again, listen to the word, write. You have a whole book full of lyrics to popular songs. And that's how you interact and socialize in school.
Because people used to put in the work.
We used to put in the proper work. Then we transitioned to CDs, where you can actually, listen vizuri with better quality and stuff like that. We transitioned to iPods, where better quality, and you can even pause and rewind without having to rewind at too far back or too far front, things like that.
Yes.
So I went through that. My point was that I've seen the transition of mobile phones. I've seen the transition of technology. I'm telling you, my dad used to tell me about how Bado, while I was growing up, their computers were almost a full room. So if you wanted to do one computing thing, that you had to go to one end of the room, do something, then go to the other end of the room. And that's calculated.
Because as we just found the whole thing just put together into
and
one.
And to them, that is just calculating 1 times 2. They had to do all these things. That is why when
Yeah.
we first got our first computer, it was an old one. It had
Yes.
My father did not believe in the simple way of going through things. Other people used to have Windows. I believe it should be Windows 98. No, before that there was 93. Windows 93 or Windows 98. 93, 95 or 98, one of those. But
my father, 98.
my
remember
father,
seeing Windows 98.
my
somewhere.
father
Yeah.
did not believe in the simple way. We had to go through something called DOS. DOS, unaona the black and white screen that comes in before Windows boots up.
Yes.
That we had to go through that process. You don't just start Windows like that. You have to go directory dir blah 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 blah. If you wanted to play a game, you have to play it in DOS.
Yes.
So you put directories, games, data / blah 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 blah, so that you can play your own games.
He used to make you guys write that mini. Is it like sort of kind of code?
Basically, that was the basic code. Watch computer code size ya programming. Basic code.
Yes.
We had to learn that. We had to learn binary. We had to learn all these things because he believed that you can't appreciate the new technology without understanding background of how it came about.
Yeah, you can't. That's true. That's true. So it gives you a foundation and the background, and then you kind of build on it. And that really helps you. I've noticed when you start learning something uku katikati, you don't appreciate it as much.
Yes.
There's a certain kind of appreciation that comes with starting from the basics and then you build up.
Exactly.
Even your understanding is more solid. So ukiulizwa swali una float, you're just like, but it's like that because it's like that. No. Why is it like this? You know why. That was really cool. And as you talk about your dad now, I'm starting to see certain aspects of how you do things as a result of that kind of upbringing. Because you're also like that to some extent.
Trust me, Ata, when we were learning how to drive, he had to teach us the basics. He taught us with one of the most hardest. My uncle works for tours and travels.
Yeah.
He tried driving that car, akasema, no, this, I have no idea what kind of a machine this is, but no. He has had so many cars, but this one was the hardest thing that, as in, it was the hardest thing he has ever had to drive. That car was so manual, you needed, lazima ukule ugali kabla we drive.
Because utasongesha nini na itasonga. Utabaki tu ile
reverse. Hey. Reverse unaekelea chini. Yani you use your muscles.
Why are we fighting to reverse?
Why are we fighting with this car? But you have to fight it.
Kwanza you pray to God,
you don't land on a T junction that has traffic lights. Cause ikipiga red, you have to chapa.
You're done.
You are done. As in, it will take a minute. Note, there are cars behind you. Take a minute for you to just gear 1 to start going.
Yeah, and now what I upate an impatient driver behind you. While when they can see the lights, because you're a beginner, sometimes you go you stop right under the lights. So hata uzioni vizuri.
And everybody
behind you imesema go. They are hooting.
Ndio, everybody behind you feels as if why are you delaying? But in real life, hapa, and then gari may stall. Just when you're about to start moving, gari may stall. Now you're here forcing it to start, to go free, and then as in, let me not lie, I learned multitasking through that car.
Yes, there's something about driving a manual that gives you. I agree. That's true.
There are people who will never understand proper old school manual. There's this new manual where you just feel cha imeingia cha. No. This was umefinya clutch mwisho, and this thing is refusing to ingia gear. Anyway, so moving through that, and then I talked about technology. I'm talking about transitions in social interactions, because back in the day we used to have
so let's talk social
chama ya wazee, chama ya mama. We used to that's how we used to socialize. That's how you knew which social group you're in. Then MySpace came in. MySpace didn't have as much impact in Kenya as it should have been, but I'm in that generation that MySpace and Yahoo we used to chat on Yahoo. MiG 33, something like that. I remember that was the first mobile app for interaction and chatting with people. MIG, something like that.
Like a social platform.
It's WhatsApp. Unajua kuna WhatsApp 1.0, 2.0. Hiyo ilikuwa 0.0 negative.
Yes.
As in that was the original WhatsApp where you could send a photo and interact with people and chat with people. But before that, it used to be your social circle. So the mamas, the chama ya mama, chama ya wazee that used to meet once in a month, that's how you knew which circle you're in. Then phones evolved to connecting to the internet, and that's when we started this MiG-33 and the other small chat apps that came about. Guys will not know this. Most of your audience will not know this, but before not before. When Safaricom came to market, it had one of their competitors called You.
Oh, I remember You. I remember You with the free calls.
Yes,
I
free
You was doing the most.
You were the first people who had free You to You and free net ya usiku.
Yes. Watu mpoga Safaricom alafu ikifika matime ya kuongea uko na line ya You because yes.
You know, Celtel, the one that currently is Airtel, used to be Celtel.
And then it was even Zain at some point.
It
was Cancel. No, it was Cancel, remember?
It was Celtel, then Cancel, then now then Zain, then Airtel.
As in are you sure I did start na Cancel?
There was
because I remember being Cancel and Safaricom.
Yes, there was Celtel, then Cancel, then Zain.
Oh, okay.
Then now Airtel. It has had so many revolutions, transitions that we have been through all of that.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. People will not understand. Only people in their 40s and above will understand all this background, because we had to go through all this.
And I think I'm even grasping some of them, because personally, and I've had a lot of people tell me this, is me, I'm kind of like an old soul. So I feel like I grasped a lot, the kind of music I listen to, because I'm really stuck in the late 80s and early 90s kind of music. So now you're even talking back now in the 80s now, people who are kids back then.
Yes.
So I can see. So if you're an old soul, then maybe you might identify with some of these things, not because you experience them, but you kind of know of them.
Yes, you've heard of this from maybe your older brothers or older cousins.
Yes.
You heard all these things. Because think about this. Can you imagine what people used to do before M-Pesa?
People used to send through Akamba. You remember when Akamba, now it's just Easy Coach that is left. People used to take letters, unajifanya hapo umeandika barua hata hakuna. You put pesa hapo katikati and you hope and pray that the way you're sending that letter to Kisumu, that person will open and they will know hii ni pesa nimekutumia. And so before you even send that barua, mumeongea kwa landline. And it's not that everybody had the privilege of having, you know how now even low income households, at least there's one person who has a mobile phone. Then it was you look for your rich family friend, ama uende kwa ofisi ya mtu, they steal for you the landline. You talk to that relative of yours who hopefully pia yeye ameenda place yenye kuna landline.
Exactly.
And you say, I'll try and call you at this time. And this is how we'll send those funds. I remember. What?
And
even just withdrawing cash from the bank.
Imagine, and that is how we used to interact, and that's how we used to pay for stuff, and that's how we use. Actually, you've reminded me about sending letters. High school, where we had. I'm
telling you, the Jamas nowadays are lazy.
We they used to be at our school. There used to be a committee that sits down and evaluate people's letters going out. We're looking at your grammar. We're looking at your grammar. We're looking at your vibe. We're looking at the kind of what is it? The paper you used to write that letter. We're looking at the dedications hapo chini.
Yes, the dicks.
Now, alafu sasa if it's a rival school, a rival girls' school, we used to forge letters.
Yes.
You use kwa stamp. A letter you've been sent. You take the stamp. You dip the envelope in warm water. you tore the stamp.
Yeah.
You use Colgate
Yes.
to tore the stamp from the postal
The
office.
glue. Oh,
To tore that stamp, use
from the envelope.
close
Yeah.
up. And then after that, you reuse that same stamp on the new letter.
The stamp, yeah. Because who has money
So you
to
go
be
back and forth
because
because
all the time.
Sasa, you go back and forth because the other school used to do the same. Take the same letter, same envelope, take out the stamp, use Colgate. Now it's about the rest. The rest is to see who's the first person after going back and forth over and over and over. That envelope will look so bad. What our poster will return it back to you.
Like nunua stamp wewe.
Hey, me, I'm telling you, we went through things when we were growing up. But the transition is the key. Because
it is,
many people are afraid of technology. So you found...
That's true.
So when growing up, some of the older folks were against having a computer in their homes, having a smartwatch, having, what is it called? Some of these things that transitioned. Our parents were used to having something called an LP, the rock player that used to use LP. LP is that big black thing that rotates.
Yes. Oh, now it's in museums.
Now it's in museums. Some DJs pretend they're old school. They use LPs, but they don't really use LPs. But that's how we grew up. We were listening to Boney M and country songs and Kenny Rogers through those LPs.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think I experienced those. Yeah.
I lived in a house where my father was big on music, had that recorder and had LPs that if you dare scratch, you wouldn't even sleep in that house. You'd look for somewhere to sleep.
Because he's still gonna get you. He's just switch villages. Toka kwangu, please.
But
mimi nitakuchapa kwanza. Something to say.
Mimi ndo nitakuchapa kwanza alafu nikurudishe uchapwe vizuri. So we grew up with LPs, transition to tapes, transitions to CDs, transition to digital music. And there's always a generation that tries to fight whatever is being developed for some reason. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because currently we are living through the AI generation.
Yes, that is scary for me. I won't lie.
Now, here's the thing. It's scary and people are afraid of it to the point that they are trying to fight it. But me, I would say, I embrace technology. I embrace technology because I believe even AI currently, it's the worst it will ever be. Just like when we were going through the CD transition, there are things that did not work, things that did work. Because I remember, do you remember there used to be movies, 24 movies, was it 24 movies in one disc? They used to sell it in Tao and stuff.
Yes. I remember those things. The first, the one with the Niger movies.
Yes, you find like how many movies in one disc. You're like, how is this one disc having that? There were Blu-rays, there were blah blah blah. People were afraid of all that technology, but it stayed with us a whole generation. There's a whole 10 years that no CDs. They don't remember tapes, but they remember having CDs in their house. And that's where we are with AI. Because our kids will be at their 30s, and there's a new technology that is going to come out that will beat AI. And if you don't move with that transition, you'll always be afraid of what is next. You're afraid of, hey man, this technology. Think about this. Imagine our parents when the internet was invented.
They were scared. I can imagine, because where they were coming from, it was foreign, unheard of. Yeah, I hear you. I think how I'm going to try and combat that fear is just trying to learn, not only embrace it, but try and be as informed as I possibly can. Because there's something about being ignorant about something and just not knowing about it, and also you're scared of it. But maybe there's also a certain kind of comfort that comes with having knowledge,
Yes.
And then just figuring out how to navigate it. I hear you. 100%. There's something you said that I think I don't want us to escape from discussing. Umeongea juu ya story ya ku scratch nini, and then unakimbia, maybe you like try and escape to the neighbors. The neighbor tells you, wewe kwanza me I'll fix you before even your parents fix you.
Exactly.
There's something to be said about back in the day, communal parenting and communal responsibility as far as bringing up children. I feel like that value has really evolved over time. And there was the good side of communal parenting, or just like the community trying to raise a child as a whole and being very involved. I think the positive aspect was when kulikuwa na shida ya like school fees, or if the child needs something, you could really see people trying to rally behind huyu ni wetu, let's try and support. Exactly. Even in terms of disciplining, I think there's something to be said about, like, I know, for instance, there were times I used to live somewhere and I was really known as the anti.com mwenye ni mtiaji pia. Cause mimi sapata umefinywa huko na machali huko kwa stairs, sijui unafanya. Sasa unafanya, ebu go home. You know, but there's also that person who'll be like, not my monkey, not my circus, mtoto si wangu, please, mimi sitaki shida. I will just walk away, and then kesho unasikia sijui they did what, sijui who, and something that could have been prevented if you would have just called it out. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean go and tell the parents. You can even tell the girl or whoever it is that is involved in that activity, stop what you're doing, and maybe even pull them to the side, tell them, and yeah, this path you're on is not a good one. I feel like you need to reevaluate, you need to change paths, you know. But now we are in an environment where people don't want to be told anything, especially even people's children. It's like, oh, what? Leave my child alone. You know, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I think the reason why that actually happened, one, it started with you know, back in the day, kids were in a community raised under specific values. So the whole community shared the same values, shared the same disciplines, shared the same you know, rules. So if you break one rule, it's the same rule that is in the neighbor's household, the same rule that is being being enforced on the opposite shamba. So the whole community
it's the
shared
same rules that they are
they shared the same values and same rules. So if you broke one rule in this house, it's the same rule our jirani is following. Kama ustahili kukula kwa jirani, the same policy has been put on the jirani's land. So
hawakuli kwenu,
wao kuli kwako, wewe ukuli kwao. So if any of you changed that, mnapanishiwa nyinyi nyote. Or the same thing as in ukichapa mtoto, that looked like nini, mtoto akichapa mtoto, the discipline was discipline both of them. Wewe wacheni but now it evolved to the point where you're in the same flat, but all of you are raising kids with different values. You don't believe in corporal punishment. Huyu haoni shida watu wakifanya blah blah blah, but wewe uko na shida na hiyo. You see, so many different values in the same community. So it changes. I will enforce my rules on my kid. You enforce your rules on your kid. And I will not force my rules on yours and yours on mine. You see? And that's where the disconnect started. I also feel like kuna...
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's when the first disconnect started, because ati you aukubali mtoto wako afanye blah blah blah, but my kid is allowed to do that. What my kid is not allowed to do, unabaki zile za why? That is such a simple thing. Why? So we started having different values according to different households. And note, we are talking about different generations have different values. I always try and use a book to educate some of my colleagues who are slightly younger. It's called River and the Source.
Yes. Oh, I remember it.
River and the Source had the beginning of the book. It was all about the traditions of the Luo culture. I saw a woman at the river and I want her. So I ran back home, tell my parents go, negotiate, and you guys haven't even talked with this woman, but comes to your house and you start a family. Next generation has seen somebody in the street but can't approach Evo too. But this guy approaches, talks in the middle of the street, making sure that it's clear, everybody can see. And the generation used to go like that. Mpaka at the end of the book, unapata, there's this generation. These guys have been dating for sijui how long, and then that's where they decide to come to the parents. So values changed over generations, and that's why how you raise your kids change with generations. The fact that the more you grow, you change, the more you alienate your traditions. And by doing that, you're raising your kids in a different environment. So they go to the jirani and see, wait, why do they have a Christmas tree and I don't have? Oh, we are SDAs, we don't believe in that. You see, there's that disconnect of that community does not share the same values. So you cannot raise the kids in the same way.
Well, that's true. I've never thought of it that way. Although I would like to think there's some small basic human principles. Unajua, be kind, be what. Now sometimes even that unapata when you call out people, you start catching feelings. But anyway,
but times have changed. You see, you are assuming that every person has the same values of kindness. Because think about this. Kuna some kids who are being brought up to be, take what you want. Take what you want.
Yes.
Do not care about others.
It doesn't matter who you step on, what you...
Exactly.
And I've seen grown-ups with that mindset. I've actually seen grown folk with that kind of mindset. It doesn't matter what you have to cross, who you have to betray, what you have to... This is the target, this is what we are going for. And it's not how we get there, it is we get it.
Exactly. And kids grow up looking at their parents as their role models. Those are the first role models they see in life. So if they see you doing that... And it's never
do as I say, it's do as I do.
And note, if they do the opposite and become kind to somebody else, the parents are the first people to say, why did you do that? Huh? And the reason why I say that is because look at how kids handle toys now.
Yes.
It'll be in a situation here, these are my toys. I'll let you play with it, but note, it's mine. And when the parents come in, unajua back in the day when we were growing up, and I refused to share my toy with the neighbors, where neza chapo? Right now, why didn't you share your toy with the neighbors? Kwani unajaribu nini? As in, learn to share. But currently, even food. Remember when we were growing up, we were always sharing food, sharing sweets.
Yeah, even break time. It was very...
But there was a new generation that came in and said, you know what? I bought you this bike or this toy or this something, and you go and
it's
ati neibando aliharibu. It is your fault for sharing it with them. You should have taken more responsibility. So unachapwa because you gave it out to somebody. Next time you make sure that never happens.
Yes.
And the new generation where unfortunately sijui kuna allergies, kuna blah blah blah, people are being sued left, right and center. So the new generation of kids are being brought up to be told, do not share this snack with somebody else because that person might be allergic to it. Akikuwa allergic apeleko osi, those parents will actually come and give me the problem. So you are telling
now I'll get grief about it.
Now you're telling your kid, go but don't share. So you see, that's one of the other transitions that has happened with parenting. The fact that we are stuck on being careful of what we say and do, what our kids do and say reflect on us. So we tell them to not do, not say, not share.
Oh, makes sense. 100%. So I want to get a bit more personal. I know we've really touched on quite a number of transitions, even in general.
Thank you so much for tuning in. What's some of the things that we discussed on today's episode that you really resonated with? Perhaps you even have a similar story or something that really tickled you. I would love to get your feedback. You can find me on Instagram at the Walking with Wanzuu podcast. You can also find me on Gmail. You can write me an email, tewanzuu@gmail.com. Better yet, you can leave a note if you're listening on Spotify or any other streaming platform and let me know whatever spoke to you during this particular episode. Life is too hard to go through it alone. Let's just do life together. Amma, until next time, bye-bye.